singing a prayer composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The translation as follows. Lord Gaurasundar sings in a very sweet voice, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Whether you are a householder or a sannyasi, constantly chant Hari Hari. Do not forget this chanting. Whether you are in a happy condition or a distressful one, just fill your lips with Harinam. You are bound up in the network of Maya and are forced to toil fruitlessly. Now you have obtained full consciousness in the human form of life. So chant the names of Radha Madhava. Your life may end at any moment, and you have not served the Lord of the senses, Rishikesh. Take this advice of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Just once, relish the nectar of the holy name. Lord Gaurasundar sings in a very sweet voice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Saragrahi. He's a person who is always seeking the essence. And as a great Thakur, Paramhamsa Vaishnav, he has found that essence. And his life is to share that essence. The very essence of the teachings of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami has written the Sandarbhas. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan. There's an ocean of literature explaining the profound details of the philosophy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But the essence is very simple. In whatever state of life we're in, if we just know what is the goal and how to achieve it, then all perfection is ours. We have just heard from His Holiness Dayananda Swami Maharaj the virtues of forgiveness. It is a prominent quality that Lord Chaitanya taught. After Krishna departed from this world, he specifically incarnated in the form of the Srimad-Bhagavatam to give light in the darkness of the age of Kali. Srimad-Bhagavatam is the cream of all Vedic literature. There is the history of how Vyasadeva, after compiling the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, after composing the 108 principal Upanishads and then many other Upanishads, the Mahabharata, the Itihastas, the Puranas, and then to make it simple, because there's such literature, so many Samhitas. He took all Vedic literatures that he had compiled, he as an avatar of Vishnu, and the words and the writings of the greatest sages and saints and their conversations throughout the universe, throughout history. And he concisely took the very substance of it in the form of the Brahma Sutra. Within the Mahabharata is the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. But still, while in Badrikashram on bank of Saraswati River, he was feeling some emptiness. Why? He's the most famous author that will ever live. People get happy if they write one best-selling book. But after some time, nobody cares. But Vyasadeva wrote such volumes of books that are eternally bestsellers. And they're opening the doors to highest liberation, not just entertaining. But he did it all out of compassion. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Saragrahi. He's a person who is always seeking the essence. And as a great Thakur, Paramhamsa Vaishnav, he has found that essence. And his life is to share that essence. The very essence of the teachings of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jiva Goswami has written the Sandarbhas. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan. There's an ocean of literature explaining the profound details of the philosophy of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But the essence is very simple. In whatever state of life we're in, if we just know what is the goal and how to achieve it, then all perfection is ours. We have just heard from His Holiness Dayananda Swami Maharaj the virtues of forgiveness. It is a prominent quality that Lord Chaitanya taught. After Krishna departed from this world, he specifically incarnated in the form of the Srimad-Bhagavatam to give light in the darkness of the age of Kali. Srimad-Bhagavatam is the cream of all Vedic literature. There is the history of how Vyasadeva, after compiling the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, after composing the 108 principal Upanishads and then many other Upanishads, the Mahabharata, the Itihastas, the Puranas, and then to make it simple, because there's such literature, so many Samhitas. He took all Vedic literatures that he had compiled, he as an avatar of Vishnu, and the words and the writings of the greatest sages and saints and their conversations throughout the universe, throughout history. And he concisely took the very substance of it in the form of the Brahma Sutra. Within the Mahabharata is the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. But still, while in Badrikashram on bank of Saraswati River, he was feeling some emptiness. Why? He's the most famous author that will ever live. People get happy if they write one best-selling book. But after some time, nobody cares. But Vyasadeva wrote such volumes of books that are eternally bestsellers. And they're opening the doors to highest liberation, not just entertaining. But he did it all out of compassion. Whatever he was doing was, as Krishna, he was an instrument of the highest. He was the source of the highest truth. He was in this world, speaking and writing literatures only for the highest welfare of all people. And after all that he had done, there was an emptiness. Narada Muni appeared, his guru, who was born directly of Brahma, and told him, "You have explained how to reach the ultimate goal, but for the sake of the people in general and all different types of people, you have emphasized artha, dhamma, kama, moksha. And the essence is love of God, no doubt. But you will be satisfied when you write a scripture that takes the very essence of ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and describe the beautiful qualities of Krishna and his pastimes, the ultimate goal, exclusively. And then your mission will be fulfilled." And on the basis of that order from Narada Muni, he wrote the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is the commentary of Vedanta Sutra by the author himself. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the personification of Srimad-Bhagavatam. He simply taught the essence and the conclusions of Srimad-Bhagavatam, and he exemplified those teachings. And it is the foundational basis of the whole parampara of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the teachings of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And we find a primary theme is forgiveness. Because Srimad-Bhagavatam is leading us to the love of Radha for Krishna. It is leading us into Braj Leela. Well, we must understand the first 9 cantos before we can truly enter into the experience of the 10th canto. And we find great personalities who are truly lovers of Krishna, most dear to Krishna. And their example in life is the practical understanding of the philosophy and teachings. So we have, I'll just name a few. of the primary stories. There's the Pandavas, Yuddhistir Maharaj. After all the atrocities he went through, still, he was ready to forgive Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, and everyone. Just give me a little piece of land. And even after the battle of Kurukshetra, when he was king, he accepted Dhritarashtra and served him lovingly, totally forgave him. And the great Mahatma Vidura, he was completely betrayed by his own brother. That's very severe. Vidura loved his brother, was always at his side through the best and worst times, always trying to help him, always giving him good advice. And Duryodhana was so angry with him. He said the worst possible blasphemous words that pierced his heart, and then banished him from the kingdom. You can't take your wife, you can't take any of your possessions, you take your breath. That's all I'll let you leave here with. And Dhritarashtra said nothing. Totally betrayed by the brother that he gave his life to assist and serve and love as a friend. But when Dhritarashtra was in a helpless condition, Vidura came back, forgave him of everything. In one sense, for devotees like this, it's almost like they don't forgive because they don't even see anything to forgive for. Forgiving is one quality. Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, these stories, it's not that they forgave. Oh, I'm so kind, I'm forgiving you. They're so forgiving, they don't even see it as an offense. It's just their nature, just to be the well-wisher for the good of another. That's such a forgiveness. Vidura forgave Dhritarashtra, came home and helped him attain liberation. In Ramayana, Bharat was really angry at Ram. At his mother, Caitanya, for banishing Ram. Ram told Kausalya, forgive her. He told Dasarat, forgive her. And when Bharat came to the kingdom, one of the primary instructions that Ram told Bharat is forgive your mother. Take care of her, she needs you. He completely forgave her. And in the process, Caitanya, her heart was completely transformed. Ram was really ready to forgive Ravana even after stealing Sita. Just give her back, and I'll be here to protect you forever. For Sita's sake, he had to fight the war, but he was ready to forgive in a second if Ravana just brought her back. Dhruva Maharaj, he was so ruthlessly insulted by his stepmother, Suruchi. But after he went to the forest and received devotional service from Narada and became a great devotee, he came back, completely forgave her, and loved her and respected her like his own mother for the rest of her life. That is Dhruva. And Prahlad. Little Prahlad, his father tried to murder him. He insulted him. He tried every way. He hated his son. But Prahlad was constantly forgiving him. And ultimately, when it just became so much that Narsinghadev liberated the world from Hiranyakashipu, still Prahlad, if you want to give me any benediction, forgive my father. Give him liberation. Ambarish Maharaj, he made such a tiny little offense with the intention only to serve with love Durvas Muni. He wanted to serve him, he wanted to please him, but he wanted to do it in such a way that he didn't disturb the whole world by not doing his fast properly. He drank a drop of Charanamrit. And even though he had all good intentions, Durvas Muni was so angry, he tried to murder him. He insulted him with the most terrible, harsh words, and created a fire demon to destroy Ambarish. And Ambarish just gave his heart to Krishna. And when Krishna sent his Sudarshan Chakra, Durvas Muni went flying away to so many different places. And when finally Vishnu told him, I can't help you, Durvas Muni said, I'm surrendering to you. Where is your heart? He said, I gave my heart to Ambarish. He has my heart. When my devotee gives their heart to me, I give my heart to them. So he went back to Ambarish, and the whole time, that whole year while Durvas Muni was running away, Ambarish was just praying to Krishna, please forgive Durvasa. He immediately forgave him. He prayed for his protection. He prayed for all Krishna's blessings to be upon him. And it wasn't like you see, Durvas, I'm better than you. You're a nonsense. I'm a true yogi. I forgive you. Because I forgive you, now you are restored. That wasn't Ambarish's mood. His kind of forgiveness was from the heart. He was thinking, please forgive me. Ambarish is saying, please forgive me. Because of me, you had to run all over the place and go to different planets, and you still haven't eaten. So I saved all the prasad for you. Here it is. Please forgive me and take prasad. That's the way he forgave. It's not with no ego. The Srimad-Bhagavatam teaches a type of forgiveness because the ego is so tricky. You can become proud of being forgiving. Just see, let the world know I have forgiven. But Srimad-Bhagavatam teaches a different type of forgiveness. A forgiveness where you genuinely are the well-wisher. A forgiveness that is born of humility before God. As Dayananda Maharaj was saying, this quality of forgiveness pleases Krishna. Without it, there's a great deficiency in our devotion. That is why the Srimad-Bhagavatam, almost every major story is centered around how a devotee is forgiving. Dhruva, Ambarish, Prahlad, Kunti Devi, Vidura, Yuddhistir. Chitraketu. Chitraketu was cursed for doing something he didn't even mean to do. And he just offered his respect to Parvati. Thank you. You cursed me to be a demon and to die and become a demon. I'm very happy. Forgive me for if I made any mistakes. Now I'm happy to do whatever you say. These are the qualities that actually are necessary before we could truly enter into the spirit of the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. And the associates of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they personified these principles because they were teaching by example. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so terribly criticized and insulted by Ramchandra Puri. But still, Lord Chaitanya would not allow anyone to speak anything against him. He would bow down to Ramchandra Puri because he was a sannyasi, a godbrother of his guru. Ramchandra Puri said, "You eat too much. What kind of sannyasi are you?" So what did Lord Chaitanya do? He reduced his eating. He could have taken his Sudarshan chakra and cut his head off. But he just reduced his eating. He forgave him. Nityananda Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, we heard those beautiful stories. It goes on and on. And the Satchandra Rai and Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, all these great saints, primary features of their leelas were in their power to forgive. Nityananda Prabhu's consort, Janava-Devi. There were places where people tried to murder her. They were spreading the nastiest lies against her. But she forgave them. She initiated them. She gave them prema bhakti. Because you see, in Krishna consciousness, we understand that the soul within everyone is a part of God. And whatever bad qualities are due to the influence of Maya, it's a disease. And we're also diseased. And our only qualification is Krishna and the great Vaishnavas are willing to forgive us. Otherwise, we have no hope. So if we want to please Krishna, we will be forgiving. Trinadapi sunichena taror ibasihishna. When tolerant like a tree, for in the path of Srimad-Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this tolerance is usually characterized by our willingness to forgive others. Srila Prabhupada writes that one's greatness has to be estimated by how one is able to tolerate provoking situations. And the context of Prabhupada saying this is when Bhrigu Muni was doing aparads to the devas. The sages were wondering of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, who is greatest? And he understood you can tell the greatness of a person by how they're able to forgive. So he went to Brahma, his father. Brahma said, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And Bhrigu Muni just kind of ignored him. Ignored him. It was an offense of the mind. And Brahma got really angry. So Bhrigu Muni left. He went to Shiva, his brother, his elder brother. Shiva said, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Come, I want to embrace you." And Bhrigu Muni said, "Don't touch me. You smell like a crematorium and you're filthy, dirty, and you associate with bad people. I don't want to touch you." Shiva was really... picked up his trident. Parvati said, "Well, wait. But he was angry. So Bhrigu Muni left. That was to Brahma. He insulted him with his mind by not saying anything, by just ignoring him. Shiva, he insulted him with words, by nasty words. But the worst offense is physical offense. He went to Vishnu. And Vishnu was so happy to see Bhrigu Muni. He said, "Oh, please, you sit on my chair, I'm coming." He came to embrace him, and Lakshmi was sitting right there. And what did Bhrigu Muni do? He appeared to be really angry. And he jumped and kicked Vishnu right in the chest with his foot. Can you imagine? If you just touch a Vaishnava with your foot, you're supposed to, to get his dust of his feet and ask forgiveness. He purposely, willingly, intentionally kicked Vishnu in the chest with his foot. Now this is really bad, because Lakshmi's living in the chest is a little silver hair of Vishnu. He kicked her. Very, very bad. And what did Vishnu do? He said, "Oh, Bhrigu Muni, I'm sorry if I hurt you, because your feet are so soft and lotus-like, and my chest is so hard. Please let me massage your feet." And he put Bhrigu Muni on his own throne and massaged his feet. Bhrigu Muni understood, this is greatness. This is the supreme greatness. If there's not something provoking that happens to us, there's nothing to forgive. Anyone could say, "Oh, yes, I am forgiving," as long as everyone's nice to me and everything's going well. But the opportunity to forgive actually comes when there's provocation. And we find among the saints, Prahlad forgiving neglect, forgiving betrayal, forgiving even people who are trying to destroy you. Yuddhistir Maharaj forgave everyone. These are the qualities of devotees. And as Maharaj said, it doesn't mean we impede justice, because we don't want people, if we are misused, we don't want those people to do that to other people. So in certain situations, there must be certain acts of justice to protect the innocent. But in our hearts, we forgive. And Srila Prabhupada, in this reference, quoted Jesus. They blasphemed him, they humiliated him in public by saying, "People call you the king," and they made a crown made out of thorns and pushed it on his head, and he was bleeding profusely, and they whipped him. They made him carry a cross. They nailed through his hands and his feet and hung him in public to be crucified. And Jesus, he said, "My dear Father in heaven, please forgive them. They know not what they do." That's the basis of the whole Christian faith. The whole religion of Christianity is really based on that principle of the power of forgiveness. He gave many teachings and everything, but that was his last instruction. Haridas Thakur, we heard, he was being whipped, he was being beaten, but the whole time he was just praying, "Krishna, forgive them." And Caitanya Mahaprabhu, during Mahaprakash, he said, I descended to the world with my Sudarshan Chakra to destroy those executioners. But you were praying so much from your heart for me to forgive them that my chakra had no potency. Your forgiveness overcame my anger at them. I couldn't I couldn't do anything. So all I could do was try to protect you by covering your body with my own. Then Lord Chaitanya showed everyone all the brutal beating marks that were meant for Haridas were on Lord Chaitanya's body. So these are very, very extreme stories, but still, Mahajano Yena Gatasapanta, to follow in the footsteps. This is what it means. Trinadapi Sunichena Taror Ibasehishna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadhani. Goes much deeper than just saying, please accept my obeisances, I'm your servant. It's actually this state of consciousness, humbling ourselves before what pleases Krishna. What is important is we focus on our goal. Our goal is to love Krishna. And the process is to please Krishna. And we should adjust everything in our life according to those two principles. This is Bhaktivinoda Chorus speaking in this song. I'd like to tell one short story. Is there an Abhishek today? What does this mean? People write me notes, but I don't know what they mean. Do you know what that means? There's counterfeit notes. I just got a note that there's an Abhishek at 11 o'clock, but you can go on till 11:30. Nobody knows. Huh? Oh, that's from another festival. Happened to be in this songbook. Wars can start with this communication. That's why it's important we have people to clarify. That was from Nityananda's appearance day, and it was in the songbook. And it just happened to be sitting on front because I opened the songbook. So I'd like to tell one story. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is in this beautiful song speaking about how we should focus on the goal of life. And whoever we are, whatever our situation, if the process of achieving that goal is the name of God. When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu was a resident of Navadvip as Nimai Pandit, he was the crest jewel of all scholars. He was such a popular scholar. People wanted to come from all directions to study under him. And one day he told Lakshmi Devi and Sachimata that I am going to East Bengal. Today it's called Bangladesh. In those days it was called Bangladesh. So Lord Chaitanya left with a few of his students and walked from Navadvip to East Bengal. He saw the Padmavati River. So beautiful, it's described. The river was crystal clear and had lotus flowers and other beautiful flowers growing in it, and the banks of the rivers was wonderful forests. And Lord Chaitanya, or Nimai Pandit, he loved to just look upon the Padmavati River, and he took his bath in Padmavati River. And according to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when Lord Chaitanya put his feet in the Padmavati River, it became as glorious and sanctified as the Ganga. Because Ganga Mata is supremely pure because it had washed the feet of Vamanadev. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would perform so many leelas in Ganga. And as soon as he put his feet in the Padmavati River, it gained the same status as Mother Ganga. For the same reason, it became as pure and liberating. A river that can give love for Krishna, if touched with proper faith. He started teaching. The people of East Bengal were so grateful, because most of them were not very wealthy people. But as we often tell, scholarship was the highest occupation that one could have in those days. And Nimai Pandit was so famous. Everyone wanted to study under him. But how many people from East Bengal could actually afford to go and leave everything and go to Navadvip to study under Nimai Pandit? A lot of them were actually saving their life earnings to somehow or other get to Navadvip to go there, and other people just dreamed of such a fortune. But Nimai understood their hearts, so he went there and was freely, for free, he was teaching everybody who came. And within days, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of students. They were so grateful. They were saying, we are so fortunate. We dreamed of going to Navadvip. Many of us have been saving for years to go there just to see you and to learn for you. And you have come here. Some of them are saying, your wisdom and your way of teaching is non-different than that of Brihaspati. And then they would say, no, that's minimizing you. Brihaspati can't compare to you. All we can say is you must be an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be able to teach the way you do. The lessons that even the best teacher, it would take 12 years for a person to learn and get the degree. Best teachers, 12-year courses they would give. Nimai, you would get all the knowledge and more, plus the degree, in less than 2 months. So who would you rather study from? Plus, Nimai, even though they didn't know he's Krishna, his students loved him because he was so kind and so gracious. When he was in Navadvip, one of the qualities of Nimai, he defeated every scholar, every Pandit, every Bhattacharya, every Chakravarti, every Mishra, everyone. Even Digvijay Pandit, Keshav Kashmiri, the world champion in debate, every word he spoke, Saraswati would incarnate on his tongue and speak it for him. Now, who can defeat him? Nimai. After he was defeated, Saraswati said, because he's my master, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I'm too shy to speak anything in his presence. So you should go, the whole purpose of all the knowledge I give anyone is so you can surrender to him. But don't tell anyone what I said. Lord Caitanya, who was then Nimai, he was defeating Digvijay and all the others, but he did it in such a way he didn't hurt anyone's heart. No one felt insulted. In fact, whoever he defeated, they actually liked being defeated by him. Because there was no ego. All the other scholars, they were trying to defeat each other because they had ego. But Nimai could defeat them and really defeat them, but he would do it with such grace and such respect and such humility. Even his arrogance, his apparent arrogance, was so humble that everyone was pleased to be defeated by him. So his students, how much he pleased their hearts with his every lesson. His voice was like nectar. His wisdom was so profound, it mesmerized the heart. So he stayed for some months, and thousands of students came, and they all sat around him on the banks of Padmavati River, and he would give them all the lessons, and they would learn everything, and they would never forget anything he taught because it had such a deep impression in their hearts. And then they would go to their villages, and they would tell people, and people would see a totally transformed person. So then thousands of people from those villages would come. Nimai Pandit, what kind of teacher is he? Look what he's done for this person. And there was constantly students. And then it was time for Nimai to leave. And so many students, the best possible things they had in their homes, they wanted to give to him as gifts. Some people were poor, they just gave him some bananas. Others gave him some rice. Others were coming with gold and silver or silks. He wasn't asking for anything. He was a Brahmin, in the true sense. He didn't ask for any payment for anything he did. He taught as a service. And just from the spontaneous gratitude of their heart, they were all coming. And he was saying goodbye to everyone. And they were crying and offering their obeisances and expressing their gratitude. And many people just said, we're coming with you to Navadvip. We cannot give up your association. So he said, all right. So some were coming and some were going. And while all this was happening, he was just about to leave. There's a story of one Brahmin. His name is Tapan Mishra.